Mom, am I adopted?
Of course not, honey.
Welcome to MsMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the non-animated flicks that even the biggest Disney fans might have totally forgotten existed.
All right, here we go.
Number 10, A Kid in King Arthur's Court.
Remember 3 things. Lean in, protect your steed, fix a point on your opponent's person, and have at him.
That's 4 things.
Magic, jousting, and baseball. These 3 things might not usually go together, but in Disney's A Kid in King Arthur's Court, they're ingredients for a fantastical adventure. The film follows a kid named Calvin, played by Thomas Ian Nicholas, who gets magically transported to the Middle Ages. Influenced by Mark Twain's 19th century story A Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's Court, this Disney flick features a pre-Titanic Kate Winslet and future James Bond star Daniel Craig.
I'm so sorry about the Princess Katie. I missed you desperately.
I came not for comfort. I came to say goodbye.
The film is essentially pure 90s nostalgia, and even spun a lesser-known sequel called A Kid in Aladdin's Palace, also featuring Nicholas.
Give me back my yen.
Whoa. Are you nuts?
Number 9, Candleshoe. One of the most prominent child stars of the 70s, Jodie Foster starred in a handful of Disney movies. In 1977, she played the sassy and smart Casey Brown in Candleshoe.
What I brought you. Can't say that Casey Brown doesn't pay her own way, right? Wait a minute, there's more.
Casey is a foster child who travels across the Atlantic with a con man in an attempt to find some lost treasure. Posing as the missing descendant of an heiress, Casey attempts to trick the woman and steal the hidden fortune that lies somewhere in the estate.
This is Miss Brown, Miss Casey Brown.
Hi.
How do you do? Won't you sit down?
The fun and free-spirited movie has plenty of charms, but it isn't the most recognisable of Foster's turns with Disney. Maybe that's why it tends to be forgotten.
No. Either we got a deal up front or we got no deal at all.
Number 8, College Road Trip. Trying to decide where to go to college can be a daunting task for any teen. Pair that adolescent milestone with a meddling parent and you have all the makings of a classic Disney movie.
I never thought this day would come.
I did, but I'm proud of you.
Raven-Symoné is Melanie Porter, a Georgetown University hopeful in College Road Trip. Her overbearing but well-meaning father James, played by Martin Lawrence, plans a trip to Washington, D.C. Along the way, they find themselves navigating wacky situations, adventure, and of course, family dynamics. The film received middling reviews but performed well enough at the box office. However, it just didn't have the staying power of other Raven projects, namely her breakthrough show.
I don't have my hand up.
Exactly.
Mr. Petrocelli, when my hand is up, I know the answer, and when my hand is down, I don't know the answer. Let me explain it again. Hand up, no, hand down, don't. I'm just saying.
Number 7, Jungle to Jungle. Following his voiceover duties as Buzz Lightyear in Toy Story, Tim Allen continued his Disney run with 1997's Jungle to Jungle. The story follows an egotistical businessman who discovers he fathered a child with his ex-wife, who now lives off the grid in South America.
I must have started 1,000 letters to tell you, but every one of them started with, "I know you never wanted children."
This is nuts. This is nuts. This is unbelievable.
After making the long trek to meet his son Mimi Siku, he takes the boy back to his concrete jungle, New York City. The two learn respective lessons about growing up and fatherhood.
Will you stay with me in Lipo Lipo?
For a while? You teach me how to hunt.
The film wasn't a hit with the critics and was a remake of a panned French film anyway. Even though it features the comedic talents of Tim Allen and Martin Short, it's not hard to guess why this one might have fallen by the cultural wayside.
How did you get the certificates out of the vault without my signature? What? You forged my signature?
Number 6, Tom and Huck. This 1995 adaptation is Disney's take on this American literary classic, The Adventures of Tom Sawyer. Child star Jonathan Taylor Thomas stars as the young Tom Sawyer, who sets out to prove the innocence of a man wrongly accused of murder.
I was there! I saw the murder! Doc Robinson wasn't stabbed 4 times, he was stabbed 3 times!
Throughout the film, Tom and his buddy Huck get themselves into some fun but dangerous situations. It wasn't the first time Disney had adapted a Twain story. 2 years earlier, The Adventures of Huck Finn had come out starring Elijah Wood.
I'm gonna fix their wagons for good.
That film made a bit more at the box office and garnered positive reviews from critics. Tom and Huck would not have similar luck.
What's that for?
It's what friends do.
We friends?
Number 5, The Country Bears. Before Disney theme park attractions like Pirates of the Caribbean and the Haunted Mansion began getting the big screen treatment, there was The Country Bears. The 2002 film sees the beloved singing and banjo-playing Bruins reuniting after years apart.
We can get the band back together!
Get the band back together? Get the... Oh, that's the stupidest thing. Never in a million years.
Starring Haley Joel Osment and Christopher Walken, the movie also features cameos from music legends including Sir Elton John, Willie Nelson, and Queen Latifah.
That guy looks a lot like Elton John.
Nah, Elton John's taller.
Although the puppeteering is a little jarring at first, if you find the Country Bear Jamboree stage show nostalgic, you'll probably dig this flick. But it didn't make up its budget, and plans for a sequel were seemingly scrapped.
This is not over! Yes!
Number 4, The Absentminded Professor. This film was one of Disney's biggest hits of the 1960s, but the sci-fi comedy has since been largely forgotten. It was even nominated for 3 Academy Awards. Maybe it's time The Absent-Minded Professor came out of retirement.
We've got to give it a name, Charlie. Let's see. Flying rubber. Flying rubber.
Fred McMurray stars as a professor who creates a formula that resists gravity. McMurray's performance was influenced by real-life Princeton chemist Hubert Allier, who was nicknamed Dr. Boom for his explosive demonstrations.
We put it under here so that we can bombard the flubber with gamma rays to trigger the molecular change. Which is certainly more scientific than kicking it or bouncing it around the room.
In 1997, the beaker was passed down to Robin Williams, who starred in a remake, this time simply called Flubber.
Let's try and describe you. You're an elastomer. Yes, you're highly viscous, but yet you can phase shift. Let's see.
Number 3, Pollyanna.
I've never had a whole room to myself before. I must be higher up in the house than anyone, aren't I?
Well, I'm not used to children's noises around the house, and that's the reason I chose that one.
Written in 1913, the novel Pollyanna kicked off a literary series about an orphan with an unbridled optimism who moves in with her grumpy aunt.
We gotta have roast chicken, though. I'm glad of that.
Are you gonna start that all over again? Glad this, glad that?
In 1960, Disney adapted the beloved book for the silver screen with Jane Wyman, Karl Malden, and child star Hayley Mills as the title character. Mills would go on to become one of the studio's most prominent figures, starring in 5 more pictures, including The Parent Trap and That Darn Cat. Although Pollyanna was well received, it didn't make as much money as Disney had hoped, but it remains a favourite in homes around America.
I thought it might give you something to do instead of just lying around.
Number 2, The Jungle Book.
That's me.
You? Shere Khan.
The holy men say I'm half a tiger.
You probably remember Disney's 2016 adaptation of The Jungle Book, featuring hyper-realistic animal animation. But it wasn't the first time they had taken another crack at Rudyard Kipling's stories.
The jungle speaks to me, because I've learned how to listen.
In 1994, the studio recruited Sam Neill, John Cleese, Lena Headey, and Jason Scott Lee to tell a version of the tale. What sets it apart is that in the film, none of the animals talk. That might have made the movie more grounded, but we're also inclined to think it may have made the movie a bit more forgettable. Not having an iconic tune like The Bare Necessities is a big risk.
Look for the bare necessities, the simple bare necessities. Forget about your worries and your strife.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications.
Number 1. Treasure Island. You might not know this, but this swashbuckling tale was the first of its kind.
She'll bring back all the pirate gold that we can put aboard her.
Shh, no talk of treasure in a public place, I beg of you.
Aye, mum's the word.
After years of producing animated content, Disney finally took the plunge by making Treasure Island, its first completely live-action film. Adapted from the Robert Louis Stevenson novel, the movie follows a boy named Jim Hawkins who is gifted a treasure map, which begins an adventure on the high seas.
Flint's map. How did you come by it, lad?
Why, he gave it to me, sir, when he sent me for help. He said I'd share.
Initially, the plan was to make a cartoon version, but the studio decided to explore the possibility of making a live-action film and launched a new beginning for Disney.
Goodbye, matey. Good luck, Dewey.
What live-action Disney movie deserves more credit? Sound off in the comments.
Darling, red isn't your color. Give me the hat. Give me the hat, or you'll become a hat.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from MsMojo. And be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.